Okay guys, so I know the light is not the best in this room, but that will have to do. And I'm red here, it's fine, it's just because I was just sitting like this and my skin is like a baby skin, it gets red really easily. Anyway, today I wanted to talk, I guess I didn't really want to talk about this, but I wanted to address once and for all, perhaps, hopefully, a comment that we see so often when you're a feminist or when you're talking about feminism online. One of the very frequent criticism is that feminism doesn't care for important and serious matters and that it only cares about very small, silly and just superficial issues. And if you go even further, some people, more ignorant people, will even say that feminism only cares about issues that it created itself. And so I wanted to go through a little, through some points to show you how much that is complete bullshit. Feminism does care about the variety of things, and feminism is a very complex, absolutely not monolithical movement. And some people have different interests, and I'm pretty sure that you don't know all feminists and that no one knows all feminists around the world, and all feminists who read books, made documentaries, made videos, have blogs, etc., etc. People have things that they care more about, or people have things that they're more interested in, or people have things that they know more about, they're more concerned with, or that they're more, like able to talk about. But feminists do talk about what's happening in the world. There is this preconceived and very weird idea that apparently feminists will only talk about the US, and I don't think that's true. I really don't think that's true. While there are feminists who only focus on the US, maybe because they don't know anything else, maybe because that's what they want to change, maybe because they think that being focused is the best way to be useful, whatever, or efficient. They could have a variety of reasons that are positive, as well as a variety of reasons which could be less positive. But anyway, they're probably doing more by addressing one issue than you by just criticizing them because they're not addressing all of the issues in the world. That being said, feminism and feminists do speak about the world, about other countries, about various things which are happening. Take my channel, for example. I have made videos about Israel and Palestine. I have made videos about female genital mutilation. I have made videos about Muslims and the situation of migrants in the world. If that's not speaking up about social and worldwide issues, I don't know what that is. However, I am a white French woman, and therefore it is not my place to speak up about certain things in the place of women of color, of women of certain countries, of women of certain confessions, and etc. So if you care so much about what's happening in the world, but you can't name at least two feminists who are not white, who are not English-speaking feminists, then you probably don't care as much as you would like to believe, and you probably should work on that instead of criticizing for the sake of criticizing. The idea that shit happens elsewhere, but we're fine here in our developed countries, modern countries where we have achieved equality, is a very harmful, scornful and ignorant idea. Obviously, the situation of women in the world differs and varies from one country to another. Qualities of life, standards of life, different social, political, economical situation, that's a fact. But no country in the world is perfect, and no country in the world has achieved equality when it comes to gender. And the idea that Western society is free from any misogyny, discrimination and sexism, while developing countries and the East or non-white countries are in huge need to being civilized by us because they treat women so badly, is just super pretentious and inaccurate. Also just ignoring, and that's something that I'm really passionate about, is also just ignoring the fact that how we treat women in the world is very much linked to political conflicts, to wars, to social and economical situations, which are not always the result of internal politics themselves. When you look at history, the West and the white and very rich countries have just kept on messing up with other countries, and therefore they can't be, obviously they're not like they're not responsible completely. It's not to say this, but we can't ignore this, and we can't ignore the responsibility that we have in the way that extremism may rise up in some countries, that poverty may rise up, etc., etc. Also, just because there's something worse happening somewhere else doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about what's happening here, and doesn't mean that you can't be critical of your own country, your own situation, and want to change it. Because little girls can't go to school in some countries in the world, I should not complain or speak up about being harassed or being touched or being grabbed in the street. That doesn't make any sense, really. It's just silly. It's like one of the silliest arguments ever. Also, the roots of, sexism and violence against women are many, but they always meet in one thing that feminists call patriarchy. But it's not a fancy word that we nowadays use on Tumblr. It's a word that's been used for a long time, and it's a word that's used by scientists, by sociologists, by anthropologists, and it has shaped our culture so much that people don't even recognize it most of the time. It's responsible for both the death of little girls in countries where it's useless to have a baby girl, as well as responsible for women being forced to stay at home and care for the family only, as well as it's responsible for men being taken more seriously in any sort of situation, really, unless, we're talking about taking care of children. It's also responsible for women being assaulted in the street. It's just responsible for everything. The root is patriarchy. The root is patriarchy. Like, I can't explain it any better. It takes different roads and it takes different routes depending on the era, depending on the country, the culture, the social, political, economical situation, and depending on individuals. But it always comes down to this. That's why we're talking about patriarchy, because you can't cure a disease by just, lightening the symptoms for a little while. You have to actually understand what the cause of the disease is in order to heal someone. That's common sense, really. And if you think that things just happen without any connection or any link between one another, I really suggest you rethink your idea of logic and your critical analytical practices and capacities, really. Women are being raped, and they're being beaten, and they're being killed, and they're being harassed in the West by strangers, by family members, by boyfriends, by stalkers, by superiors, and those are not isolated cases. Those are not a minority, and even if they were a minority of facts, and even if they were just very, very small percentage, we should take care of those victims. They're real human beings that deserve to be helped, that deserve to be heard. And go tell those women that rape culture isn't real when it's fun to make jokes about it, and when police officers don't always take you seriously, and when, the idea of consent is still absurd and just silly for some people. It's just silly to focus on, patriarchy and rape culture and grammar as if it were the only thing that feminists care about, because it's not true. But it's also silly, because those things matter. If they're not the things you want to focus on, good for you, choose your battle. But the truth is, most likely you haven't chosen any battle, and you're probably not doing anything. And that just really pisses me off, really. So the list could be longer, but I guess it's more than enough to prove you how stupid and ignorant and just not honest, really dishonest it is to criticize feminism based on the fact that they care more about, the grammar that we use in the West compared to the beaten women of the East. There are so many racist and superior and sexist underlines in that kind of speech and discourse that it's really not something you should be saying if you think you're not a racist and not a sexist person. So just educate yourself. It doesn't make you look smart either to just deny because you haven't experienced it personally, or because you just haven't recognized that you have experienced it personally. Theories and concepts and ideas that have been proven and that have been just used and discussed for so long by people who know so much better about you on this subject, really. Plus, while criticizing feminism, what are you doing for women in the world, for those women that you care so much about? Not much. You're just making it harder for any woman, even women in the West, to just speak up and be heard and being taken seriously. Really, if you're someone who's just hesitant and you're like, but feminism seems to only care about silly things, I just really suggest you educate yourself and you stop thinking that things just happen in a way that's like isolated from anything else. It really is not the case. I hope you enjoy watching this video. Feel free to add any, not any comment, but feel free to add more reasons or more like information on this if you're a feminist or if you have researched a subject. That would be just lovely. Thank you for watching and I'll see you later. Bye!